Talk about one of the upgrades that we have made here at Morning Offering. About a year ago, we spread out our signal to Michigan throughout the stations throughout the Ave Maria radio family. We celebrate actually an anniversary tomorrow, first year, and we added the one, the only, Father Mark Davis to that program as well. So welcome to you, Father Mark. It's time to go on the mark.
Well, good morning, everyone. How are you guys?
Doing okay,
Great.
Father.
Fabulous. How about you?
Great, and happy birthday tomorrow of being able to join Michigan with this merger. Congratulations.
Yeah, and a little while from almost, 10 months from now, we'll celebrate adding the stations in Montana. So,
That's right.
we'll mark that as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so by any chance, have any of the three of you ever been to Fenway Park?
I have not.
No.
So I went once with Deacon Dan Breyer way back in the early 80s after college. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had, probably the best experience I've ever had at a baseball game. It was just so much fun. Everybody around was so friendly. It was just a great place to watch baseball. I really had great memories of Fenway Park. But who cares? But, I just thought I'd share.
That's good. That's a
I
connection.
wonder how many attempts at avoiding corporate sponsorship renaming of the field over the years they've had to go through.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow. Yeah. So, yesterday was the third Sunday of Easter time, and I actually had a baptism. And it was really interesting. When I got to the house for the little gathering after the baptism, they said that the older brother was crying all the way home, and the mom kept on saying, "Honey, why are you crying? What's wrong?" And he just said, "The priest said that we should be raised in a Christian home, and I want to stay with you guys."
Oh, my goodness.
All right, so that one makes up for the fact that I wasn't with you last week because I was on retreat. But to me, today's main story is the story about a middle-aged woman who had a heart attack, and she's rushed to the hospital, and then she coded, and her spirit left her body, and she really had a near-death experience, and she had experience of talking to God in heaven. And she says, "God, is my time up? Is this time for me? Is my mission over?" And he said, "No, you have 43 more years to live on earth before your mission is completed." And she says, "Oh, okay, well, thanks." And then she went back into her body, and, as she recovered from the heart attack, she said, "Wow, I've got 43 more years to live." So she said, "Well, I might as well be prepared for it." So she underwent extensive plastic surgery, things about her body she really wanted to fix, and she had a facelift, and then, a year later she had liposuction, and then a year later after that a tummy tuck, and in the meantime, she got, changed her hair and got new teeth, and, and shortly after all of this is completed, she's driving and someone runs a red light and she dies. And she ends up being one-on-one with God, and she said, "God, hi, I'm happy to be here with you in heaven. I've tried to serve you all my life, but I'm a little confused. A few years ago when I almost died, you said I had 43 years to live." And he says, "Huh? Susie, is that you? I didn't recognize you."
Be careful what you do, right?
That's ridiculous.
I love it.
So where are we going from there? Now, that reminds me of yesterday's gospel. On the road to Emmaus, Cleopas and his companion didn't recognize Jesus. So it's flip in the stupid story, in our joke. God didn't recognize the woman. Now, of course, he would have, but that's the story. But they didn't recognize Jesus. But of that whole thing, the line that really struck me was after they poured out their heart and how disappointed they were and how devastated they were and hopeless they were, Jesus said to them, well, didn't you realize that the Christ had to go through that suffering in order to go into his glory? That's all the prophets said, that he had to go through that in order to get to there. And, it reminds me of, if you think of an Olympic athlete like Michael Phelps, no one is going to question that he had no life, until the Olympics, that he was swimming, 10, 12 hours a day or whatever it does. No one would ever question that or be surprised at that. They say that a caterpillar in the cocoon literally becomes mush before it turns into a butterfly, that we know that we have to go through things in order to transform and to grow. And God gives us challenges and our suffering in this world in order for us to heal our spirit and to grow and let go of things of this world, which is often very painful, in order to purge the things of this world, kind of like purgatory, to purge things in order to get closer to him. So as the story starts with this woman talking to God in heaven, it just makes me think about each one of us someday, either have an experience of talking to God on earth or when we get to the other side in heaven, how interesting and powerful it'll be for God to talk with us, to look back at our life and to say, oh, you went through these sufferings, you went through these times. These things had to happen here in order for the good and the glory to come out of it here. And so I think that's just, in this Easter season, it gives us hope to be able to say, God, help me to see and trust that there is purpose to my suffering, that what do I need to learn? And Lord, let me learn it as quick as possible for the suffering can pass for me. To go through this in order to be closer to you and to be able to do the mission that you called me to on earth. And as our individual souls heal and get closer to God, it also brings healing to the world. Does that make any sense?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, very
Makes a lot of sense. Nicely done, Father. And I just, while you were talking, I texted the folks who were going to do that hair transplant thing for me. I'm not going to do it. I changed my mind.
You want God to recognize you. That's right.
That's right.
Well, good choice. And it's a lot cheaper, too.
Thank you, Father
God
Mark.
bless you. Have a wonderful Easter week, everyone. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. On the Mark, Father Mark Davis. Awesome. Always something to think about, and that's some good stuff there.